finally time for my book haul video. So I literally brought my ottoman from my couch over to the front of my bookshelf so I can sit down and have space to put all the books. Let me just count how many books I have here as well. 16 books that I have hauled, but this is over the span of like a month, I would say. Some of these books are books I have already read and I'm just replacing. I am so excited to get into it, so let's get into it. I'm not going to be going in any particular order. I have a big stack here, so I'm just going to go through these books pretty quickly. I'm not going to stay too long on each book. And then I have the 4 books from Pango Books that I had ordered. When I get to these books, these will be once I finish this stack here. Once I get to these books, I'll explain the whole mess that happened with that. All right, so first book is Mountains of Spices by Hannah Hernard. So this is actually the sequel to a book called Hind's Feet on High Places. Now I'm trying to find that book, but then I happened to find this one when I was at a used bookstore. And I was like, oh, that's so cool. This is the sequel. I didn't even know there's a sequel. So I bought it. I'm still looking for the first book in this series, duology. I don't know if it's a lot of books. This one specifically says an allegory about human weaknesses and strengths, comparing the spices in Song of Solomon to the fruits of the Spirit. So it is Christian based. But yeah, I had started reading the first book, Hind's Feet on High Places, on my phone, but I just don't like reading on a screen. I like having the physical book. So I don't really see myself getting an e-reader. Disclaimer, I probably won't be having a video on that. That's my mindset right now. Who knows what I feel in the future. But hopefully I can find the first book. If not, I'll just order it off of like Amazon or something. But yeah, that's the first book. The second book, in one of my vlogs, I briefly mentioned this one, Who's Afraid of Virginia Woolf? So it is a play by Edward Albee. I don't think I've read this before, but I'm pretty sure I have seen the film, the black and white film of it. But yeah, I'll probably read this at some point, not sure when. The next book is 1984 by George Orwell, one of my favorite books. I'm pretty sure I had mentioned this in one of my other like book shopping vlogs. This is one of the books I was trying to replace from the whole storage unit thing that happened. And I found this really cool like retro like version of it. Let me see what year this one was printed. I'm seeing 5 different years here. 1949, that's, I'm assuming the book first now. Copyright renewed, 1977 afterward, 1961, bibliography preface, no. So I'm guessing this one is from 1977, maybe? Or is it from 1984? Because it says commemorative 1984 edition. So maybe this one came out in the year 1984. If so, that's really cool. Anyway, I think it's a really cool cover. It looks very retro because of how the letters look and everything. I'm really happy I found it as well. So yeah, on to the next book. The next one is 18 Best Stories by Edgar Allan Poe. I had briefly mentioned this in a different video as well. I had a really thick book of all of the works, short stories and poems of Edgar Allan Poe. So when I found this, I was really excited. Even though it's not a complete works, it is 18 of his best stories. So I was really excited to get it. Plus the cover is really cool. It's very creepy. So yeah, I'm really excited about this find. The next book on the stack. All right. I recently read this. I read this in less than 24 hours. That's how good it was. 5 stars. That's all I have to say. Love in Other Words by Christina Lauren. I was sobbing, okay? Cried while reading this, went to my husband and tell him that I read the book, cried even more. This book is so, it was incredible. It was the slow burn. It's hard to explain without like completely spoiling everything. All I'm saying, definitely read this book, Love in Other Words. The male love interest, Elliot Petropoulos. What? Read it. Now this next book, I was recently reading it, but I DNF'd it. And it was pretty good. but I just couldn't get past some comments made by the male character. So it is Before We Were Strangers by Renee Carlino. It is actually pretty similar to Love in Other Words, where it's a male and female character that they were friends. Something happens where there's like a big gap and 10 plus years pass by. They have no communication, they reconnect. Even though I didn't actually finish reading this one, it was going along that route. So it's an alternating point of view between the main characters, Matt and Grace. So it's also alternating between time. So now versus then, again, very similar to Love in Other Words, except Love in Other Words was only one point of view. But when they first meet in college, Matt, he is experienced in relationships, if you get my drift. And Grace is not, completely no experience. And he makes some comments that are kind of creepy in my opinion. Like he mentions her flowery printed undergarments at one point, and I feel like he was really like focusing on the fact that she was a virgin and inexperienced and very innocent and pure, and it didn't sit well with me. So as I was reading it, I was like, you know what? I'm like, that keeps weighing heavy in the back of my mind. I just did not feel comfortable with that. So I stopped reading it. Read it at your own discretion. If you can get past that, that's great. If not, if that kind of thing really, really bothers you, I would not recommend it. But yeah, I don't vibe with that just because it seems very predatory. I'll just say it. Not my cup of tea. So I DNF'd it. Personally, I'm even thinking of returning it to Barnes & Noble because I'm like, I don't want this book on my bookshelf. It's going to be kind of creepy like that. So, moving on. The next book is Love in the Time of Cholera by Gabriel Garcia Marquez. So I have never read this book. I've always heard the title growing up. But this one, I'll just read the back of it. And I believe this is like a classic. In their youth, Florentino Ariza and Fermina Daza fall passionately in love. When Fermina eventually chooses to marry a wealthy, well-born doctor, Florentino is devastated, but he is a romantic. As he rises in his business career, he whiles away the years in 622 affairs, yet he reserves his heart for Fermina. Her husband dies at last, and Florentino purposefully attends the funeral. 51 years, 9 months, and 4 days after he first declared his love for Fermina. He will do so again. So it's that, I don't know if there's a name for that, like, very long, stretched out love spanning over many decades. I feel like this will be the type of book that's really gonna tug at your heart and really just, I don't know. I feel like it's gonna be a very, like, sad romance, but I don't know. But yes, I have this book. I know there's another book, I'm pretty sure it's by this author, 100 Years of Solitude, something like that. And I've heard a lot of good things about that book as well, which I did not know he was the same author and that he wrote this book. So I thought that was kind of interesting, but yeah, pretty good find. The next book I have here is The Midnight Library by Matt Haig. I think that's how it's pronounced. All right, so this one, I'll read the back for you. We all have regrets, choices we could have made differently, paths we didn't take, other lives we might have led. But what if you were given a chance to fix your past? Enter the Midnight Library. Nora's life has been going from bad to worse. Then at the stroke of midnight on her last day on Earth, she finds herself transported to the Midnight Library, where each book contains an alternate life, a possible world in which she made different choices. She is given what seems like the ultimate opportunity, a chance to undo her regrets and try out each of the other lives she might have lived. But things aren't always what she imagined they'd be, and soon her choices place the library and herself in extreme danger. Before time runs out, she must answer the ultimate question. With infinite choices, what is the best way to live? So I don't know. just that second chance at life. The next book I have here is Fahrenheit 451 by Ray Bradbury. Another really, really good book. A classic. I had the same exact cover and like copy and everything. So I have read this book a few times. I read it in middle school and then I read it again a few years ago. This is one of the books that got damaged, so I was really just looking to replace it. Honestly, I do want to reread it at some point just because it is a really good book. And also, one of my trips to Barnes & Noble, I saw the graphic novel version of this and I really wanted to buy it. But I decided against it at the moment. I might possibly go back and buy it. But yeah, this is a really good book. I would highly recommend it. The next books I have in this stack that's already like unpackaged is, you guys already know, A Court of Mist and Fury and A Court of Wings and Ruin. Now, I have not finished reading this one. I did stop it just because at the time I wasn't really wanting to continue reading fantasy after having read ACOTAR. And that's when I read Love in Other Words. Now, I will go back to the series. I hear great things about the series and Sarah J. Maas as well. There's a lot of booktubers that I follow that really like all of her series and are really into them and say that she's a really good writer. So, of course, I'll definitely read this series and continue it. But for the time being, I think I'm going to take a little pause on it and just read some of the books that I have bought. Now comes the book that I'm probably the most excited for. So you guys know how I said 1984 is like one of my favorite books, right? Well, when I went to Barnes & Noble, I saw 1984 as a graphic novel. What? A graphic novel? Love the cover. I was looking through it, kind of reading through it as well. Wow, the art style, I feel like it just fits the theme of the book and like the feel. Everything is very dark, grays and reds. Like, look at that. Look at that. It's so good. And it was the only one at the Barnes & Noble at the time, at least. So, yeah, I am very excited for this. So now, the moment we have all been waiting for. A little story time about the books that I got from Penguin Books. Now, just to preface this, it is nothing against the company Penguin Books. It's not against the sellers.
I got some beef with the USPS. Okay, you'll see.
So, I ordered these books off of Penguin Books, if you guys don't know what that is. It's an app that you can like buy used books and also sell books, make a little money on the side. And the reason I bought some of these books off of there is because some of these books are replacing the books that got damaged. So I didn't want to buy like a brand new copy of those because I have read them already and everything. And just, it made more sense to just buy them used. So I believe, if I remember correctly, yeah, 3 of the books that I have here are books that I'm replacing. And one of them is just a new book that I've been kind of having my eye on. Now, all these 4 books came from 4 different sellers. And I was really excited. Obviously, like, I love getting books. I love getting things in the mail. Even if it's just like a random letter in the mail, I don't know. I just like receiving that physical mail, you know? So I ordered the books. I was super excited, kept track of like the tracking information and when it was going to be coming in. And when the first book was supposed to come in, I was very on top of the tracking for that day. I was so excited. And then later on in the day, when I check, it says addressee unknown and that the book was getting sent back to the sender. So I'm like, addressee unknown? Like, does the USPS not have me in the system? Like, they should know that I live in this address, like in this apartment. So I'm not understanding why it's getting sent back to the sender. So what I thought was possibly it is that on Penguin Books, on my profile, I have my husband's last name. But I haven't legally changed my last name yet. So I was thinking, oh, maybe they see that different last name. Maybe that last name got printed on the shipping label and they are returning it because they don't recognize it with my maiden last name, which is what I still legally have. So then I was like, okay, makes sense. It was a mistake on my part. So I sent a message to one of the first seller for the first book that was supposed to come in. And I let her know, hey, the book is getting sent back. I think it's because my last name is incorrect. I'm so sorry for the, inconvenience. I changed my last name. This is my correct last name for the account, whatever, blah, blah, blah. She's like, okay, great. Got into contact with Penguin Books. They sent her a new shipping label. It's all good. The book was getting sent back. So then it happened with the second book. So I was like, okay, I already know what the issue is. So then what I did to be like proactive about the whole issue was I sent all 4 sellers a message letting them know, hey, Penguin Books is sending back the books because my last name was incorrect. I think that's what's the issue, blah, 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 letting all of them know. They all responded like, okay, great, cool, we'll get into contact with Pango, get a new shipping label, all of that. So then it gets to the point where all the books are, getting sent back to sender. The last book still hasn't come in. So at this point, I told the sellers of the books, hey, can you just please let me know when the books get sent back to you, when you receive them again, and then send them back out. And they're all like, yeah, for sure, no worries. They were all awesome. They were great. They were super patient with the whole situation. They were very helpful. Then one of the sellers, she messages me, hey, I haven't gotten the book back yet. Hopefully it will come back this week. By this point, it's already been like almost 2 weeks. So I'm like, why hasn't she gotten the book back? And I'm also at this point thinking like, I'm scared because I don't want them to think that I'm like scamming them, that I did get the books, I'm trying to get a refund. So I let them all know, hey, I still want the books. There's this whole issue happening. Because obviously, they're, this is their little side business. There's a little side hustle. Like they're getting paid for this, for me buying a book off of them. So like, I wouldn't want them to think that I was scamming them. So I was stressed on my end for that too. But also I was scared. I'm like, did the books get lost in the mail? Like what's going on? Like it's taking a long time. So that same seller who told me that she was like still waiting on the book, she was like updating me the most. She also told me, hey, like Pango got back to me and they said that the last name was correct on the first label. Like it was correct this whole time. And I was like, then what the heck is going on? And I told him like, dang, like, okay, like I had to figure out what's going on then. So it was on a Wednesday. I believe it was last Wednesday. I was already planning on going to the post office because I was sending my nieces some little like goodies, like little notebooks and like pens and stuff. So I was gonna just kill 2 birds with 1 stone. While I was shipping that out, I was just gonna ask the person, the mail person, I don't know what their name is, what their title is, but I was just gonna ask whoever was working there to see if they can help me out with that issue. So I'm speaking to the woman and she processes the whole package and everything. She's like, is there anything else I can help you with? And I was like, yeah, actually, I ordered books off a website and they're supposed to be coming in, but they keep getting sent back to the sender. But like, I have my, account, like my address, everything, like my profile on USPS, like it shows that like I live there and everything. So like, I don't know what's going on. So she's like, oh, okay. Like when you open the mailbox, does it say like your name? I'm like, it doesn't, it says other people's names. But like I've received mail before, so like I don't know what the issue is. Like I'm not sure what's going on. And she's like, huh, okay. She's like, well then what I'll do, she's like, I'll write out like on this little piece of paper, I'll write out like your name and your husband's name and whatever, like first and last name. And that way the person who like gives you your mail and like puts the mail in the mailboxes, they can stick it on so that way they know you live there and to leave the mail there. And I was like, okay, great, that's awesome. And then she asked me, so as she's filling out the card, she asked me like, oh, was any of the mail that you were expecting coming like recently, like soon, like within these past few days? I was like, yeah, like yesterday I was actually supposed to get a book coming in and it got sent back to the sender. So she's like, okay, let me be right back. I'm gonna check to see if like we have anything. Tell me why. She walks out from the back. Now, keep in mind, I had ordered 4 books, right? 4. 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Tell me why she walks out from the back to look, carrying 4 packages in her hands. Now, this is nothing against her. I'm just thinking like, she has 4 packages in her hands. I ordered 4 books. Well, interesting, So she's like, oh, well, I found all of these. And I'm like, I think those are my books. And the way they're like all packaged, I've gotten books from Pango Books before, and it just the way they looked, I'm just like, yeah, I'm pretty sure these are books. So she like looks through all of them. They all say my name, all of the like locations, because since I was keeping track of them so much and like checking the tracking and everything and trying to figure out what was going on, I remembered all the states that they were coming from. They were all coming from 4 different states. Yeah. Each one was each of the state. Yeah. So then she's like, oh, wow, well, here they are. So she scanned them all to like register in the system that like I picked them up and I got them. But yeah, so whoever was supposed to drop them off in my mailbox and didn't, and then was supposed to return to sender, never actually returned them to the sender. They're just collecting dust in the back of my local USPS, post office. But I have them. It's okay. We got them. I messaged all the sellers, let them know, hey, I'm going to mark it as delivered, blah, blah, blah. Like, I got them. They were just sitting in the post office. It was all good. I'm sure the sellers got paid. Everything's been resolved. So now the exciting part, I'm going to open them and like unbox them, So I'm excited about that. So this first package, I'm going to make sure I'm not showing obviously the shipping label. But this first package, it's super cute. The pink and white stripes. So if I could open this. Okay, so I figured it was this book. I wasn't sure though. So this is Zora Books, Her Happy Ever After. Now this is an uncorrected proof. So when I saw that, I'm like, oh, that's pretty interesting. Like this is, I guess, like a preliminary like copy. Like it's, I'm assuming, like, see, there's not even a barcode. I'm assuming this was like a copy just to see how the book looks and how it is like in a physical copy. So when I saw that, I'm like, how did a person like get an uncorrected, like unedited, like unfully like edited, I guess, copy of it? So I thought that was really cool. I'll read what it says. Zora has committed every inch of her life to establishing her thriving DC bookstore, making it into a pillar of the community, and she just hasn't had time for romance. But when a mystery author she's been crushing on for years agrees to have an event at her store, she starts to rethink her priorities. Lawrence is every bit as charming as she imagined, even if his understanding of his own book seems just a bit shallow. When he asks her out after his reading, she's almost elated enough to forget about the grumpy guy who sat next to her, making snide comments all evening. Apparently, the grouch is Lawrence's best friend, Reed, but she can't imagine what kind of friendship that must be. They couldn't be more different. But as she starts seeing Lawrence and spending more and more time with Reed, Zora finds first impressions can be deceiving. Reed is smart and thoughtful. He's also interested. After years of avoiding dating, she suddenly has 2 handsome men competing for her affection. But even as she struggles to choose between them, she can't shake the feeling that they're both hiding something. A mystery she's determined to solve before she can find her HEA. I don't know what that means. It's all in caps. But yeah, I thought this sounded really cute. It's a love triangle, I hope this author does a good job of the love triangle, because I feel like sometimes it can be a little messy. Well, when are love triangles ever, unproblematic and not toxic and messy, But yeah, this seemed like a really cute book. I had seen it on Goodreads, and I think they were doing a giveaway for it. So I entered the giveaway. I didn't get it. If you've ever won a book from a giveaway from Goodreads, please let me know, because I have entered so many giveaways and I have not once gotten a book. Anyway, yeah, this was on a giveaway and I had it on my TBR. And then recently I was looking through my TBR. I was like, oh, I kind of still want to read this book. We'll see. I'll read it soon. These next 3 books are all books that I have owned previously, and I've read 2 of them. One of them I have not read yet, but they are all books that did get damaged and I had to throw away. So this one of them, I believe I know which one this is. I think this is Bird Box. Yes, it is Bird Box. So I read this years and years ago, like before it was even made into a movie on Netflix, which I watched like the first 15 minutes, like literally it was like 15 minutes. Shut it off because I'm like, no, this is not doing it justice. Me personally, I'm very, very, very picky when it comes to book to movie adaptations, just because I don't like when directors, like the people involved, whatever producers, change too many aspects of it. Especially this, I would say this is one of my favorite books. I like post-apocalyptic. I like, like the survival, zombie kind of thing, even though this is not zombies. I just like the post-apocalyptic world where you're surviving. There's a creature or something or a virus or something that can kill you, and you have to be very careful. This author did a really good job of having a very unique post-apocalyptic world where you have to stay like indoors, block all the windows. If you're outside, you have to be blindfolded. You cannot open your eyes, because if you look, whatever it is that's out there, whatever creature, whatever being will kill you. Like, you will turn into that thing, and eventually you unalive yourself and like kill people around you, which is really, really dark, but it was a very good book. Now, the next book, both of these are hardcover, which when I had these before the storage unit thing happened, I think I have them both paperback. So now I have them as hardcover. So one of them is a series, a part of a series. I don't know if it's this one. Ooh, it is. All right, so it is Caraval by Stephanie Garber. Oh, the cover's a little sticky, but you can see that there's like a sticker there, so I'll probably have to just clean that off. But yes, I love circuses. I love them being like the subject of a book, people being in a circus, the circus having like a dark like history behind it and everything. So I'm really excited for this book. I never actually got to read it. I think I had started like very like barely started the book, and I just never got to like finishing it. Now this book series, I feel like I could get into it just because it's only 3 books. That is it. It's a trilogy. And it's about circuses. Who doesn't like a circus? Now we are on to the last book. So this one is The Woman in the Window. Oh yeah, I forgot. So this seller, I'm pretty sure it was the seller. Yeah, the seller for this book. Oh, cute. Okay, so yeah, she has in her bio that she always gives freebies with her books. So here it is, The Woman in the Window by A.J. Finn. This is a book I did read. Really good book. I know it was made into a movie, a show. I'm not sure, because I know there is like The Woman Across the Woman in the Window or something on Netflix, like a show. It's supposed to be kind of like a comedy, but then I think it's also a movie with Amy Adams, I believe. Have not watched either one. Again, this is a really good book. I feel like I would get upset if they didn't do it justice. Great plot twist at the end. It is a mystery thriller kind of book. No, not mystery. It is a thriller. And the plot twist at the end, I personally did not see it coming. It had me shook. Okay, very good book. Now I'm gonna show you the little freebie. So she has it wrapped up in a piece of notebook paper. It says, "Thank you for your order. I hope you enjoy this. I hope you enjoy. This is a great book. It's also now a Netflix movie." Yeah. And it says, "Happy reading." What is the name? Annalise. That's what it says. Oh, what? She even has a stamp from the library of Annalise and her last name. She gave me a cozy chamomile tea. Now, which is funny because I more recently, in like the past like year or so, got into tea, just because I kind of figured out how to make it in a way that I like it. So I'm very excited to drink some chamomile tea while reading the book. And then she gave me some really cute bookish stickers. It says here, "Education is not the learning of facts, but the training of the mind to think." Albert Einstein. And that is so cute. Look at that. And then one of them, or the second one, is Bookosaurus. So cute. And then the last sticker here is, "There's a million books I haven't read, but just you wait." It's a Hamilton reference. I love Hamilton. If you know me in person, like in, my personal life, if you're a family, friend, you know how much I love Hamilton. I believe, just to a little brag here, I believe it was in 2020 or 2021, my Spotify Wrapped, I was in the top 3% of listeners for Hamilton. Just, Anyway, but yes, that is super cool. And then, I don't know if I showed, but she also gave me a little pencil. Cute. Love it. This book was really good. Highly recommend. But yeah, that is it. That was my book haul, my book unboxing. I hope you enjoyed it. I did, you know, getting to finally open up these books that I got from Pango. Now to figure out a place on this bookshelf to put them. But again, I hope you enjoyed. Please like, subscribe, comment down below. Yeah, comment below. If you're currently reading a book, what is that book? And are you liking it? Let me know. I hope you guys have a good day, a good night, wherever you are, at whatever time you're seeing this video. And I will see you guys in the next video.